It's no secret that swimmers need a decent amount of mobility throughout their body. Now, shoulder mobility is often spoken about when it comes to swimmers. However, the hip mobility is often neglected. So today I'm going to show you 3 exercises and certain variations that will help with your hip mobility. Flexion and extension of the hip is important for a swimmer to ensure that they have an efficient kick, proper body alignment, and of course, to prevent injury. I have suffered from hip injuries in the past as well, mainly gluteal tendinopathy on both my hips. And then as I improved my mobility and improved the strength and rebalancing of the strength in my leg muscles, this has taken the pain away and I haven't had the injury for a long time now. When we talk about hip mobility, we don't only mean the joint, we also talk about the muscles around the joint and the muscles that control the joint and the movements in the joint. So it's important to make sure those muscles are strengthened but also mobile enough. So today I'm going to show you 3 mobility exercises for your hips. These are easy that you can do at home and they are great to get you started. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comments. Also, if you have any suggestions or you want to know anything else about swimming strength and conditioning, please put them in the comments and I will put it into my list for the next videos to make. All right, so let's get to it. For the first one, we're going to go into a hip flexor stretch, okay? We're going to sit into this kneel down lunge position. And most commonly, people would always do this stretch by just pushing the hip nice and far forward into this position. You can see I'm getting quite a decent amount of range. My knees coming quite far forward. And yes, I do feel a bit of a stretch in the anterior side of my hips. Okay, let me just show you the other side. I'm pushing forward there. Okay, decent amount of stretch here. However, I want to show you what we need to do to really isolate that hip flexor in the front. So going back to the side, imagine your hip is like a bucket full of water. If you tilt that hip forward or the bucket, water will pour out on the front of the bucket. Okay, we don't want the water to pour out. We want to keep the bucket pointing up. Okay, so this is your hip. You want to tuck your tailbone in, squeeze the glutes, and keep the bucket pointing up to ensure that no water is falling out to the front. So to show you, in this position, we want to tuck the hip. Squeeze the bum, push the hip, rotate it backwards. Okay? And then holding that position, you can then feel as you're pushing forward, you won't be able to get as much distance as we did before. And you'll feel a lot more tightness on that hip flexor. Show you the other side. You tuck, squeeze the abs, squeeze the glutes, and you'll feel the tightness in that hip flexor on the front of your hip a lot sooner than before. Okay? You can hold that 30 seconds. I like to do up to a minute, but 30 seconds is probably your minimum. And just hold that and stretch. Now, if you want to get that stretch from the hip flexor also a bit more into those quads, you can grab something a bit softer for your knee if you want, just to protect your knee from the hard ground. And then we're going to grab your foot behind and pull closer to your glutes, okay? Squeeze. Keep that hip in that same position. Make sure you don't tilt your hip forward and squeeze. Now you'll feel the quads as well as the hip flexor stretching, okay? If you're not able to do this, don't worry. Just start down here, work your way up. All right, let's move on to the next one. So the next one is the hip 90-90. So you're going to sit back, support yourself with your hands behind your back, legs open, drop your knees to the side. So what are we stretching here? We're stretching the glutes as well as the internal, external rotators. So while supporting yourself on the back, this is beginners, you drop your knees to the other side, and you can swap from one to the next just with that support behind your back, okay? As you get more comfortable and you have a stronger core, you could do it without hands and gets a bit of a core stabilizing movement as well, okay? Just drop your knees side to side, switch, down. Once you've gone side to side, we can now put more stretch into that glute by leaning over your front shin. So lean over that shin, reach as far as you can, and get your chest to your shin or to the ground and hold it there. Again, we can hold this 30 seconds. And now you're going to feel that glute stretch and the external rotators. Okay, let's do the other side as well. Reach and hold. Keep breathing through the motion, through the hold. Breathe through your stomach. And relax. Now, I'm not holding it for 30 seconds, otherwise the video is going to be too long, but you want to try and do about 30 seconds hold on those stretches. All right, the next one is going to be the world's greatest stretch. And as the name suggests, it is the world's greatest stretch because it targets a lot of parts of the body. So we're going to get your foot nice and far forward, and your hands you're going to place on the inside of the front foot and lift your knee off the ground just there. Now, if you struggle with this position to start with, you can keep that knee down and start from there. But ideally, you want to work to the point where that knee is off the ground. Here, we're going to be working the hips, the hamstrings, and the spine as well. From here, you're going to take your elbow that is on the side of the front leg. You're going to bring that elbow to the ground, reach down, and then you're going to rotate with that same arm and reach for the roof. So we're rotating the spine here. So reaching down, drop the hip down, elbow to the floor. I like to add these at the end as well. You drop your back knee to the ground. You're going to put your hand on the front knee. And we're going to make circles with the knee as big as possible. So you're driving the hip towards the ground. Open that hip up wide and bring it back up. So here you're pushing your hips forward, push the knee forward, push that knee. You can use your hand to push the knee out and rolling it back, bringing your knee back to that starting position. Push forward, push out. So you're almost making a half circle or half moon with your knee, drawing nice and big. And you should feel your adductors on the inside of your hip get a nice stretch as you're pushing out wide. All right, there you have it. Those are 3 simple mobility exercises that you can do at home to improve your hip mobility, which will help you in swimming or other sports as well. It's important to keep our hip nice and mobilized. Let me know in the comments how you went on with these exercises. Or if you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I will get to those questions for you. So to finish off today, after a bit of stretching, 我很渴，我要水. All right, see you guys on the next one. Bye.